So in this video we're going to talk about React.js using React Hook Form and Zod for validation. So imagine you received your daily task and you need to work in the application. So let's give a look at the code. Mainly what you'll need are these two libs. So React Hook Forms, you're going to use it to manage your forms. Uh, it's the main block. Now Zod you can change it for other libs like yup and stuff like that. It's a validation lib and it integrates very well with TypeScript because you can infer the types from your schemas. And this hook form resolvers is just so that we can validate use React hook forms to validate our form by using Zod schema. So in the app.tsx, which we have our form over here. Now let's look at the code. So to make a code like this with pure React, you will use a lot of use states and go define them. But with use form, you have these properties that you get with is register. Now you can use the register is used so that you can register the input. So notice over here that the input doesn't have the name because it's this title is the name of the input. This spread in the register, in the end it will get name and you'll put the name over here. But if you do it like this, you will get an error, for instance, title, because you're defining name two times in your input. Now this required over here, you don't need it actually because Zod is going to validate your inputs, so you don't need to validate them over here. What's happening? So we can just remove this. Now this other property handle submit, so the way you use form hooks will understand that you're submitting your form is the is by on submit you will give the form that the function that React hook forms gives you. So inside this function, React hooks form will validate everything that you told him to validate. He will update the states. He will do everything that you would do by your own, and then he will call back this function that it's basically the function that you will call to submit something to the API. So the control is something that React Hook Forms uses to link to other functions. So uh, we use this use field array. This is a property that helps us manage dynamic forms, and this is the most interesting thing about the video because this is like it helps facilitate the way that you append stuff to the form. So this append is just by using this append or remove over here, we can get my application is not running. Well, if it's not running, you can't test it, right? It's in port 3 over here. Okay, so now you can like by this function that it's already like made for you, you can have all of this. So and here you can say to use form hooks the type of your form. Now this is very great to integrate with Zod. So we can come over here and we can say now forget about this, for instance. Okay, we have title and description, for example. So if I come over here and say no, my form doesn't have title, it has name. Now I will have an error over here because it says there is no title in your schema. But this is Zod schema. How are we using it as a type for TypeScript? So you can infer the type by using it like this. You can give the schema, the Zod schema over here, and the Zod can infer the type from this schema. So now you have the TypeScript, you have the interface. It's actually a type that he gives back. But so the difference is now this is TypeScript. So, but how can React Hook Forms use Zod to validate? Like over here, I'm telling my application that it needs with Zod schema that this field is required. But how can React Hook Forms know that? Because the only thing until now it's TypeScript. Well, it's by using this resolver. So resolver, you can use Zod resolver from that other library, and you can put the schema from Zod over here. Now the React Hook Forms will understand to call this Zod resolver, and it will validate your form data and will throw this as an error in the form state errors if it's missing. Okay, now for the dynamic form, this part over here, the dynamic form, you give this the control, and notes it's the same thing if tagged peoples, for instance, people, well, it's you see it gives an error because it says I don't, but if I put it like this, the error goes away. So this gives you back the field and the append and remove function. Basically the append it's what this button is doing. It's append person, people, and the remove is this function over here. So it makes it really easy, and the fields will return exactly what the tagged people have, because it says that the tagged people must have a person name and the person email. So you can come over here and you can map through the people, and you can track the error for that specific people. So inside the errors for tagged people, you will have the index, because you can have many people. So in the person number 1, person number 2, and so on, and you register them as the same thing. And this is the important part, the name of the field. It's a dynamic, because it's you can add 1, 2, 3, so it's not person name, it's person 1 name. And now you can track everything, and you can put the remove with the index of the person you want to remove. So if I want to remove this from the middle person, it removes easily. And you can just add a new person, and I can add a person with data if I want to. So every person I add, it already has a name. So this is what I wanted to talk about. I think this is very helpful, so that you can always validate. And the best thing is, let me just remove this data, is how this error messages, like, it's all over here. You can change the error messages when you want them, and you can add more validations. So you don't need to make the JavaScript over here to validate them. The Zod will validate it for you, and you'll have TypeScript safety. So this is it.